I definitely feel it's much less dramatic without exciting EDM music to bring us into the show. How are you tonight, John?
Well, I can cue that up at any moment, right? I got that. I got that at my fingertips, right? I got that right
upset Jeff's dog. But how are you
Don't
tonight?
want to do that. I'm doing great. 5th of July, right?
Yeah, happy 4th of July yesterday.
Right, so 248 years ago, we told King George this taxation without representation thing is really getting old, bro. This is getting a little old. You want us to keep sending you our money for what? Sure the hell isn't dentistry. We know that, right? So
Aren't
what
we
is
right
it
back there now, though, John? Same thing, really, today.
Well, that's kind of the thing, is it feels like with the government's spending being completely out of control and them demanding that we pay for this stuff, right? They want your money, my money, the audience's money, right? If you guys are Americans, you know the drill. You have to give them your money. If you don't give them your money, you go to jail.
Jail, right.
Okay. And you can't leave the country. So this is another thing. People don't understand this. You can't leave America because you owe taxes and don't want to pay them.
Bill Browder.
And them demanding that we pay for this stuff.
Sorry.
Is that me? Is that me or you?
That was me. That was me.
Okay.
Sorry.
Usually that's me. So you can't just leave the country. So what happens is if you owe a whole bunch of money to the government, they take your passport away. You can't leave. You can't just get up and go. So you have to pay these taxes. And back then when we said to the British, yeah, we're not going to do that anymore. They said, okay, well, we'll send the British Navy over to kill you. So that's how important taxes are.
Joe Biden still says stuff like that. You got to get an F-15 and stuff if you want to challenge him. Unless you're corn pop, then he'll meet you outside.
So this is the disconnect about the Second Amendment. And the Second Amendment is for deer hunting, or the Second Amendment is to defend your home. Yes. I mean, there's no question about it, but that's not why they put it in the Constitution. And we've talked about this before. What's in the Constitution is rather basic, but what was in the Federalist Papers really explains it. And they said, guys, they sent the British Navy here to kill us because we weren't going to pay our taxes.
Gotta shoot them.
The British Navy was unlike anything anyone has ever seen back then. You're talking about so many ships. It was absurd. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, but they got shot.
They sent them over here to kill us because we won't pay our taxes anymore, because they weren't. It's like, well, what are we paying the taxes for? What are you doing with that money?
John.
And
Hans Figglesworth, which seems like a fake name, says we should be
that's real.
Free Masonic States of America. That's actually true.
Yeah. Again, both of my grandfathers, both of my paternal, and
We're
both
Masons.
maternal.
You told us that before. That's crazy.
32nd degree, dude. 32nd. That's like all the way up to not 33, but 32nd degree. I mean, all the way at the top. So they went through all that crap. And I told you, I was a kid. I thought it was like a magic show. I was always walking around behind the scenes looking for boxes with, they had the stars and all that hocus pocus looking stuff. To me, it all looked like magic tricks. So I thought,
do you have the book? Wasn't there some secret forbidden book that you're not allowed to see?
I don't know. I'll have to ask old man Cullen. I think he still has his Masonic ring, right? They
really?
Masonic.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's heavy.
Yeah. But again, it's like there's not when you grew up, like Larry Clayman's from Philadelphia. He'll tell you the same thing. If you grew up in Philadelphia, the Masonic Temple was the thing, man. That was a big deal from an architectural standpoint. Right downtown Philadelphia, this was the most significant architectural thing in Philadelphia is the Masonic Temple. And the history of all that stuff is kind of wild. So that's, all these guys were Masons. All of them. Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, all these guys were Masons. So Pretty wild stuff. And the fact that Thomas Jefferson did all this, I think at the age of 31 or something, is really kind of astounding. I mean, this was a really precocious kid.
Did you know that I made a video inside that Freemasonic temple one time?
I remember you shared it with us. Yeah, we did take a look at that once. You showed us a quick clip of it on the patron part of the show. It's really a remarkable place. I remember my grandfather taking me when I was a tiny kid. I mean,
inside there?
5 years. Yeah, but I was like 4 or 5 years old. I was a little kid.
There, look, see this? That's them right there. Can you see that?
That's who?
That is George Washington. I don't know why it's so blurry. Normally that's pretty sharp, but that's George Washington and Benjamin Franklin standing outside the Freemasonic temple.
Yeah,
That is
very cool. Now, the other thing that's interesting is that although we declared our independence on the 4th of July in 1776, we didn't actually get our independence until 1783. So it took 7 years. Right? So just declaring it is one thing.
You still got to shoot it.
You still got to go through the rough and tough of it. And so it took 7 years from the declaration of our independence until 1783 when we actually were able to move forward. So it's Philadelphia, man. Independence Hall, all that stuff. That's where you and Larry went to do the Continental Congress.
That was really a good thing that Larry did there. It's too bad that we haven't. And then this is City Hall, I think, right? Yeah, Philadelphia is interesting. I mean, listen. So Trump has now laid out. He kind of denounced that Project 25, whatever the hell that was, and then he put out his, Operation 47 or whatever his plan is. He had some good ideas. He wants to make free college online, American University or something like that, or American Academy, something like that. It's a good idea. Let people learn stuff. I don't know. We'll see what
Dennis
happens.
Prager to run it. I'd have Dennis Prager run it. Dennis Prager's wife, Susan, follows me and retweets my stuff on Twitter. She's very, very engaged. And she has said to me privately that she and Dennis together watch the Vegas stuff that we've done.
Wow. And they should sponsor you on
he might, for all I know, he could be the big
/I am John Cullen and patreon.com/I am John Cullen. People should also follow you on Twitter.
That would be very nice. Yeah. So the folks who sponsor this make this possible. And for me, you're doing shows all week long. You do shows with Charles Ortel and with Lee Stranahan, and you were doing shows with, lots of other folks that have passed away, unfortunately, right? Larry Nichols, right?
Yep. Several people have passed away. Larry and also Jimmy Moriarty, and then Joanne didn't want to continue. David Hawkins, of course. Oh, yeah. Right. Nurse Amy was looking into Serco. And everyone was like, "Oh, Hawkins."
Yeah. So Nurse Amy found some stuff about Serco this week, and was posting about Serco. And I think a lot of the people that were following your work with Hawkins were like, "Oh my God, this connects everything." It was crazy. So it's a shame David's not here to share this with us. So but you do a lot of stuff, and so you've got supporters all across the thing. I'm very focused, right? I just do this Vegas stuff and this mapping of the coronavirus. So I'm kind of more of an acquired taste, whereas you appeal to lots of people. I'm more like an absinthe. This guy, yeah.
I was on with Jason Dean earlier today.
Fantastic. He's doing a great job. I have to applaud him because he's kind of what we look for, which is somebody who's open-minded to new evidence and a new twist and a new way of thinking, a new way of looking at something, and he's open to it. And I have to applaud him for that. We've been talking about this confirmation bias and the fact that people don't seem to want to look at anything that contradicts their beliefs. And I think when you find somebody like a Dr. Jason Dean who's willing to do that, you have to take a moment to applaud the guy and say, we need more people like this that are willing to look at stuff, even if it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And
he's also just a friendly guy, which frankly is becoming rare,
Yeah. But, again, there's enough likable people out there. You look at all the people in the Twitter sphere, YouTube, doing shows and stuff, and there's people with so many more followers than us.
Yeah.
So what that tells me is, not you, but me, they're way more likable than me, right? So I see people all the time. Who the hell is this guy? He's got 400,000 followers. I'm like, wow, he must be a really likable guy. You have really good content, better than my stuff.
GEC payroll.
Maybe. So I don't know. We're doing our thing. I've got a very limited audience, though. So my patrons and Subscribe Star supporters, there's not very many of them, but it's a select group of people, and most contribute $5 a month. But I've got a couple that contribute more, and for all I know, it's Dennis Breger and his wife that are sending me a bunch of money. I don't know. I don't know because I don't look. Yeah,
we should also remind people, John, to be watching us on Sundays. We've been doing Web of Deception, and people are loving that show. I honestly, it's honestly become one of the most popular things that we're doing. I'm kind of amazed how the response is.
More people watching that. More people watch that Sunday show than are watching this Friday show right now on my channel. I get more views on Web of Deception than on this. Yeah, so
that's funny.
And we've 24 episodes. Think about that. On Web of Deception, we've done 24 half hours. So that's 12 hours of content. And then 24 hours plus, an hour, 20, hour and a half for the patrons. That's a lot, dude. We got 36, 40 hours of content just on that operation. I mean, that's a significant amount of content.
Dummy.
So last week we did this John Cullen versus Bob Malone debate.
Oh yeah.
And it seemed like John
show up.
Well, it seemed like he might be getting indicted for pointing out that Michael Callahan works for Langley, because Scooter Libby went to prison for that, right? Scooter Libby told everybody that Valerie Plame worked for the CIA.
Did he go to prison? I think nothing happened to him.
Yes. No, he went to Scooter Libby served time. I think he was.
Oh, sorry. I'm thinking of the guy who stuffed information in his pants. Sandy Berger. Scooter Libby, different, right?
Yes. So Scooter Libby tells everybody that Valerie Plame is really working for the CIA. Gets prosecuted, goes to prison.
He knew.
I think
he had undercover information, right? Yeah,
correct.
Federal prison.
Correct. So, but Bob Malone did the same thing. Bob Malone said, Michael Callahan, CIA agent. It's like, Bob, that's
you're not supposed to say that.
Law. Right.
Dr. Stupid.
I can say that. I can say
well, we're just guessing. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. I don't have any inside information. I didn't.
That's so stupid that he did that.
And he says it's somebody he published with. And last week we went looking for anything published with Michael Callahan and Bob Malone, and we couldn't find a thing. And we were using
classified publications, right?
Must be very secret stuff, I guess. It must be have to be in Virginia to read it. I don't know.
So stupid.
All right, so that was last week. And so let's hop over to our deck for this week, and I'll show the audience a couple slides. You're working on this new book. Very excited about this new book, The Other Pandemic. And this is about the pandemic that didn't get a whole lot of press. Started before the bat pandemic. And so, real excited about that. And that art, so that artwork is from Lori, and she's really doing a great job.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. All right, so this is kind of where we left off. This is the synopsis of last week's show, which is we were looking in Hubei province, where Wuhan is, and before COVID, there's this crazy outbreak, this 2,100% increase in cases. Michael Callahan, that we now know works for the CIA, is over there. And it just seems weird. It's like, so do we send the CIA to China to help? And when the CIA goes to China, do they work with other Chinese spooks? Do they say, hey, it's the CIA. We're calling the Chinese intelligence agency. You guys want to meet us in Hubei and we'll figure out this influenza thing? Or is he working with doctors and virologists and they don't know he works for the CIA?
He's going for the dim sum.
Well, everybody's going for the dim sum, right? I mean, come on,
Someday.
everybody's going for the dim sum. But he's there. In other words, he's there as the CIA guy doing good. Like he's there to help. That's why we
That's a
send the
no.
CIA. Right. So we sent the CIA to help out, say
No.
to help the Chinese. Okay. So Bob probably shouldn't have told us he was a CIA guy. 2,100% increase in cases, not 400%, not
It's only
700, 800.
2,096.
Dude, it's insane. This doesn't happen. This is like not organic. This is gain of function. This is not organic. A 2,100% increase in cases. And oh, by the way, when we test people for it, we can't tell what it is because the strain's not in the test. Duh. Good thing Callahan's there. So Bob Malone tells us that Callahan works for the CIA. And lo and behold, the guys in Fort Meade want to know everything I'm saying at every minute of the day because they're constantly watching my posts. Constantly. All day long, every day, I'm reminded. He was poking around. You'll see a couple other interesting names here that come up.
Arby's.
So
they're taking a break from roast beef.
I love it. I love that we
what you're
can
talking
Arby's.
about.
I mean, NASA, I understand. I'm talking about a lot of, asteroid stuff. So obviously I got the NASA guys upset.
Jillian Michaels is watching. That's cool.
And she's cute. She's cute. I think she's 60 or 58 or something. She's age appropriate for me. So I can meet her for coffee. So we'll see how all this works out. But clearly the guys in Fort Meade are taking, there you go, Geert Wilders, man.
Who is that again?
You know who he is? Query, go look at who he is. He's a big deal in the Netherlands. He's a big deal. So the fact that he's poking around and he's looking, you'll see a couple other big names in a second. Yeah, Geert Wilders, very controversial guy. Yeah, he's big hair. He's got the big hair. So he's a member of parliament. Yeah, and he's in the parliament and everything. Very controversial guy, and he's poking around. He's looking at our stuff. So
extremely fancy hair.
Very thick hair. His hair is his greatest feature. All right, so let's go ahead. One more slide or two. This next slide, it seems that Steve Bannon went to jail, and his daughter's checking me out. Yeah. So while Steve Bannon
I saw jail, she's doing the show for him, right?
Well, apparently she's poking around and wants to see what we're talking about. So we've been talking about all this influenza, COVID. But if you look at to the right, it's kind of gone away, right? I mean, it's not really there. We call that depletion of susceptibles. It means the people who are susceptible to the virus either got it and now have some sort of immunity, or they died, so they're not here anymore to get sick again, or they're not susceptible. It's kind of one of three scenarios. Either you aren't really that susceptible to it, which is you didn't get sick for 10 days at any time in the last 4 years. I did. Then there's people who got sick and died. Right? Curtis Bay's wife dies. She's not here to get sick again.
Right.
And Curtis got it and is now immune to it. So he got sick and got better. So he has immunity. So once you have some immunity to it, you're not really going to register in these cases. You're not going to go to the doctor, get tested again, and all that kind of stuff. But this is the big thing. Yeah, this slide is the big thing. And this is what has been happening this week, the last 4 weeks or so. All the talk is about bird flu. H5N1 bird flu.
Adjuvated, what is that all about?
So adjuvanted means I got some aluminum in there to make you sicker. So an adjuvant irritates you even more and gets your body
immune response. Really, it enhances the immune response.
Sure, you put a little more poison, put some mercury in it. That'll do the trick too. All right, so we ordered 4.8 million doses of vaccines. That was 4 or 5 weeks ago. Then we just placed another order with Moderna for $175 million. And the problem here is there's only 9 cases on Earth. And that's the deja vu all over again. Because 4 years ago, I sat here and told you there's 4 people dead in Hong Kong, 7 in Shanghai, and the whole world was losing their mind. Well, what you're looking at now is the next strain chart of H5N1. The red dots are people. It's not a whole lot of people. There haven't been 1,000 cases of H5N1 in the last 20 years on Earth. If you go back to 2004, there hasn't been 1,000 cases. Total. All the countries on the whole planet haven't had 1,000 cases. By the way, same is true with MERS. We didn't have 1,000 deaths. And SARS-1, we didn't have 1,000 deaths. And with this, we haven't had 1,000 people die from this thing. So this year, right now in 2024, there are 9 cases of H5N1 in people. Now, yes, it's in birds, but so what? If there was an outbreak of turtle virus in turtles, and it doesn't
have to
people,
burn down all the chickens.
Right. How many vaccines do we need to order for the turtles? Who cares? What's the difference? So we're ordering vaccines for people, not for chickens. We're ordering vaccines for people, even though there's only
vaccinate cows.
Well, I mean, if, you ask Bill Gates, he wants to vaccinate the mosquitoes. I mean, he's out of his mind. He wants to vaccinate everything. So some people are a little kooky. Yes, they want to vaccinate the cows. They're already vaccinating the salmon. There's a company called Cetus.
That's
it's a division
so crazy.
of Pfizer. And they're already vaccinating salmon, chickens. They're the little tiny baby chicks, those little yellow puffy baby chicks. They stick it. And they're going to butcher it in 40 days.
Yeah, here. Look.
A roaster.
Scientists are testing.
Yeah.
They're always testing. Scientists are testing mRNA vaccines to protect cows and people against birds.
So here's the thing.
Give the same vaccine to the cows as they will to people.
They can't do that. So Congress and the Senate is already on this, and one of the senators who's a doctor, I forget who it was, said, you can't put medicine in food, and here's why. You can't control the dosage. Meaning, if you put this vaccine in a cow, now it's in my hamburgers, right? If I eat 3/4 of a pound in a double cheeseburger, I'm going to get too much medicine.
You know what a chazer is, Frank?
What's that?
That's from Scarface.
I love Scarface, but I don't remember all the lines. I don't remember all the lines.
Well, John, listen, we need to break here because we're going to continue in the sponsor exclusive segment on subscribestar.com/IamJohnCullen, patreon.com/IamJohnCullen, odyssey.com/@crowdsourcethetruth, crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com, and subscribestar.com and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. Join us over there. We'll be right back, everybody.